So let's look at number 3. Sketch the given vectors. Project the vector onto the coordinate axis and sketch the components. Then determine the magnitude of the components using SOHCAHTOA. So how do I go about doing this? I'm going to look here at SOHCAHTOA, and I'm going to look at 300 degrees. And I know 300 degrees from earlier shoots out like so. We also know that this right here is going to be 60. If you don't understand this, refer back to the previous video. Alright, so if we continue this triangle here, we have 60 degrees here. We have 90 degrees here. And so what I have, let me redraw this down here. I have a triangle that looks as such. Okay, well, this is 60 degrees. So if I know that 45 degrees is the hypotenuse, how can I figure out the distance, the east, in other words, the distance east-west or the east-west component? Well, all I have to do is, if you recall, let me redraw this. 60 degrees. That's 90. If I'm looking for this and I know that this is 45, this is just SOHCAHTOA. So SOHCAHTOA stands for the fact that this is the one across from the angle is opposite. The one next to the angle is adjacent, and the one across the diagonal, the one that is across from the 90 degrees, is the hypotenuse. Okay. So the question is, if I ask you for x, and I give you that the hypotenuse is 45, and I give you the angle, which of SOHCAHTOA can I use? What do I use? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Adjacent, hypotenuse, means I'm going to use cosine. So I say cosine 60 degrees equals adjacent, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 45. And then I solve this. So how do I go about solving this? Well, to get rid of the 45, because I'm dividing, I multiply. In other words, I'm just trying to isolate x. So I'm left with 45 times cosine 60, which is x. And then I solve this. So if we see here, I typed in 45 cosine 60, and I got 22.5. So I know that this right here, x, is 22.5. Okay? So that means that if I go back here, the east-west component is 22.5. And really I want to say kilometers. Okay? Now, the same logic applies to the opposite. However, so let me just do it again. So if we do this, the same logic applies. If I'm looking for this, I'll call it y. If I'm looking for the opposite for north-south, I can say sine 60 equals y over 45. Now the question is why do I use sine 60 as opposed to cosine? Because I'm giving opposite in hypotenuse now. So I'm giving opposite in hypotenuse now. So then we do the same thing, we multiply by 45. And in essence, what you realize is that if you want the up-down, or the vertical, or the y, you use sine and multiply the angle by sine of the angle by the hypotenuse. And if you want the x, or the horizontal, you multiply by cosine. So we see here that sine, 45 times sine 60 is 38.97. So this tells me that the y, right here, let's erase all this, the y, which is the north and south, is 39.87 kilometers. Okay? So what you do, you're going to draw the picture. I'll show you on over here. We're going to draw the picture. Here's 265. It's right here. Right? You figure out what this angle is. I believe we said it was 85 last time. Okay? And then from here, all we do is use cosine to figure out x, sine to figure out y, and you use this guy here, which is 10, for the hypotenuse. Okay? See you guys in the next video.